Hey y'all, hey, welcome back to the next video in this multi-part series. You already know this is how it's about to go. Let's go ahead and get down to business. All right, so today we're talking about creating your business personality. We're talking about branding and social presence. We're going to go over a branding breakdown. We're going to talk about personal branding versus business branding. What's the difference between the two? Why does it matter anyway? And then we're going to talk about how we can combine those two and why we should. And then we're also going to cover what kind of website is going to be right for you, depending on what you would like to offer to your audience. So, per usual, let's jump right into it. Why brand? Why do we do that? Why do we talk about that? What is that even? So when we hear the word branding, the first thing that most people think about is the colors, the logo, the type. And while that is included, it is way down the list of things that you need to do before you even think or consider those things. And doing these things beforehand is actually going to help you create your logos, your color palette, your font palettes a lot quicker because you're already going to have an understanding of what you were supposed to discover beforehand. So, branding, it is the identity of a business or an individual and how that identity is perceived by the world. That's why I call it like a business personality, because your personality is how people perceive you in this world. And it goes the same whether you're doing a personal business or doing personal branding or business branding. But we're going to talk about and break down the two. So, business branding is about creating a unique identity for your business. Of course, it's about how a business differentiates itself in the market, how you build customer loyalty, and create an emotional connection with its audience. And you may or may not have heard, but people are no longer buying from businesses, people are buying from people. So that's why I want to talk about personal branding. So it's how you market yourself, your skills, your values as a brand. This is what people say about you when you are not in the room. Personal branding is about building a reputation that speaks for you without you having to open your mouth. And it makes people think of you when they need a solution to a very particular problem, and they know that you can provide the solution to that problem. So, why would we combine these two? First of all, they're very similar. One is about personal and the other one is about business, but it's all about identity. It's all about authenticity. It's all about trust. In the world that we live in now, we are bombarded with so much information, so many choices, so many people doing the exact same thing. But what stands out is going to be the authenticity of that personal brand. Um, when you have your values, your story, it has to align with your business brand. But in combining those two and doing both, it's going to create an extremely powerful narrative that people can relate to and trust, which is what we want, especially if we are coming into what people love to call a saturated market. It makes your business not just another entity in the marketplace, not just another commodity, but something of value, something of specialty. And it creates a relatable presence that people can actually feel connected to. Again, the way business is set up now, we are definitely moving away from, oh, this is the customer, this is the business, there's a transaction. No, people want to feel something, and people feel something every time they purchase something, whether they realize it or not. But most purchases, most transactions are emotionally driven. And then they use logic to back it up. So combining both is going to help you amplify the strengths of both sides. So your personal brand gives you a human touch to your business, again, making it more relatable, more trustworthy, and it leverages your personal reputation to build credibility and loyalty for your business. Essentially, once you understand how to really do once you really understand how to personally brand yourself, it's going to become a lot easier to sell anything that you want because people like you, people know you, people trust you. And whatever comes from that business, it's going to succeed. And excuse me. So, with that being said, I would like to give you a couple of examples just to start us out of some successes, some failures when it comes to branding. What is a poor example and what is a well branded example? So this first example don't come from me. I don't know who these people are, but this is a example of a bad logo and a good logo. Uh, I can read what this says. It says Doughboys, pizza salad, panini. Okay, I get it. When it actually comes to their logo, I don't understand this at all. And it looks bad. Okay. It looks really bad. It looks like something that shouldn't be a logo versus something that's easily recognizable. Nike, the swoosh, they haven't changed up too much over the past, I don't know how many decades, but it's recognizable. I don't understand this first one. So the and it like I'm starting to see it a little bit. It's the D, it's the B. I would assume like the crescent at the top is like pizza. I don't know. It looks crazy. It's not a good logo. This was so funny. Gap tried to rebrand themselves and they had to quickly switch back to what people already know, love, and understand. If if I didn't realize that this was the Gap logo, the one in the middle, I would have never thought that it was Gap. Because once you have an established identity, you can change, but it's going to be hard to, especially it took you, what is that, over 2 decades to actually change it. And as you can see, they tried to launch it. People were like, absolutely not. And they quickly changed it back. Here's another funny one that is not funny, but it is because they lost a lot of money behind this one. Sometimes, if you come out and you set a standard for yourself, trying to go simpler, trying to go more minimalist, trying to follow a trend is not the way to go. Um, nobody understood this. Nobody could recognize Tropicana on a shelf anymore. I think they spent over $50 million on this rebrand and it completely failed. I think they had to go back to what they had originally, but people knew, love, understood. If I'm looking for Tropicana, I'm looking for the orange with the straw in it. If they can't find the orange with the straw in it, it's not going to work. And it didn't work. I kind of like it, but I understand why this particular rebrand failed. And then Nike one more time. This is just a matter of letting you know that you can change it. You can definitely change it, but make sure that your logos, your branding, your personality, the identity in which you want to create for your business, the change has to make sense. So they went from Blue Ribbon Sports, and I would have to look up the history on it. I'm pretty sure they got bought out. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me. But it took them a little under 10 years to actually change their logo. And then once they changed, they stayed consistent. They stayed relatively consistent. And the brand speaks for itself. So, personal branding, let's talk about it. Um, Again, I want you to think of your personal brand as how you market yourself to the world, how you market yourself to the world. This is your reputation, the values you stand for, the vision you aim to achieve, and how you present yourself online. Why does this matter? Because your online presence is going to speak volumes before you actually get a chance to physically introduce yourself. Who I am on the internet is who I am in real life. And that is what I wanted to convey when it came to growing certain social medias. Who you see on the screen is me for real. Like, I'm not trying to be anyone else except for myself. The key elements that I want you to take away from this is going to be your core values, what you're passionate about, and of course, your vision for the future. How you present yourself online, through social media, on a website, on a blog. Wherever you lay your digital footprint is going to play a very crucial role in shaping your personal brand. So, how do you build and promote this brand? You want to start. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Okay, let's silence that because I wasn't expecting any phone calls and I probably should turn it off. That was my fault. Um, but I want to get into some tactics on how you can create a personal brand. Ask yourself, how do you want to be seen? What do you want that to look like? For me, I want people to understand that I'm very approachable. I can be funny. I'm very witty. Sometimes I'm a little harsh, but I'm definitely motivational all around. And I just want to see people win, period. That is how I want to be seen. That is how I present myself. And then you also want to amplify your offer. What makes you different? Why you and not someone else? Um, and then I need you to know your audience and your competition. So your audience already has a, I guess, a predetermined umbrella as far as who they are, what they look like, what they do, how much money they make, where they go online. Some people prefer Facebook over TikTok. Some people prefer YouTube over Instagram. Where are your people? Where is your community? Figure out where they are and then create content there. It's not enough to just know your audience. You also have to know who you're up against and who you're competing with. Because if you think you don't have any competition, baby, you do. I know you're special. I know that you're special and I know that you got this in the bag, but I promise you, somebody is stepping a little bit harder than you. Figure out who your competition is, what they offer, what they are really good at, where they are weak at, where opportunities lie, where's that gap, and what type of threats can come into you providing what you're trying to provide for your audience. I don't know if you caught that, but that's a SWOT analysis: strength, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Then you want to establish a tone of voice. And this might sound kind of bizarre, but if you were going with business branding alone, you would still want to establish a tone of voice for your business. Is it super professional? Is it always funny? Is it always motivational? But the good thing about combining your personal brand with your business branding is that really your tone of voice is going to come through the part that you're personally branding to the world. Again, I love to laugh. I love to make people think. I love to, have really in-depth conversations. My tone of voice would be referred to as something that's upbeat, funny, motivational, and a little crass. I like to curse a lot. If that doesn't work for the people who are seeking me out, that's okay. I'm fine with that because there's somebody for everybody, but everybody shouldn't be for everybody, if that makes sense. Excuse me. And then, only then, after you've established all of these things, you will just start to develop your color palette and choose your fonts. And again, we do all of this beforehand because it's a lot easier to pick out what type of color palette would resonate with my audience. What type of color palette does my competition team tend to lean towards? And how can I do something different? You get where I'm going? You got it? Good. And then, of course, last but not least, you would create your logo and your assets. I highly recommend, if you have the money to do so, just have somebody create a logo for you, a good logo. I probably should have put this slide in here, but there's a lot of different logo types that you just need to avoid all the way completely. If I see another cartoon logo, I'm going to scream. That's not a logo. There's a lot of people right now that are doing these AI logos. They're not logos. The whole, you know, adding some type of element to establish that this is what you do. So, like, if somebody creates a logo and they're a lash artist and there's a big lash in the middle of their logo, some elements of creating logos are very, very tired. Very, very tired. And a logo should be timeless. It should scale up and down. Um, I could make a whole nother video about logos. So if you're interested in that, definitely let me know in the comments below, because baby, I have seen some trash. Okay. So let's get into let's get into business branding a little bit more. So again, this is we're all doing it together, right? We talked about personal branding. Business branding is what's going to set you apart from other businesses. It's not enough to have a personal brand and just, oh, I am the brand, I am the business. And no, you have to understand how to stand out in a crowded market. I want people to stop saying markets are saturated. They're not saturated, they're crowded. But you can stand out in a crowd, period. So knock out the saturated market nonsense and conversation out of your head, because it doesn't exist. There is no market that's saturated. How you stand out in that market is what creates your success. So, some essential components would include like your mission statement, your vision statement, your business's purpose. And we went over a lot of this in your business plan. If you haven't downloaded your Side Hustle workbook, make sure you do so. You have a full breakdown of a business plan that you can create for yourself. And this is where a lot of this information comes in. And again, as I've stated before, some of it's repetitive, but by the time you get done with every single video, you are going to know yourself and your business like the back of your hand. And that's what we want. Because if somebody comes up to you and they're like, oh, what do? You don't want to just stand there and be like, well, I kind of do this block. I'm already bored. I'm already done. I already don't want to hear anymore. Uh, so effective business branding is not just about the logo. It's not just about the colors. It's not just about the fonts. It's about creating a consistent experience across the board for your customers. If they see you on Facebook and they see you on TikTok and they see you on YouTube, they visually know, oh, this is who that person is. If you speak in the same tone of voice everywhere you go, it doesn't matter what platform you're on. They're like, I think I heard somebody. Let me go over here. This is the same person. They're starting to make that connection. They're starting to remember you, which is important. And you have to not only align the visual, but you have to align the mission. You have to align your vision, your brand voice across all touch points, from your website to social media, even down to your customer service. Again, if somebody gets on the phone with me today, the way that I'm talking to you right now is the same way that I talk to them on the phone. And once you start building and maintaining this business and personal brand, it's going to require some consistency, some creativity, but always clarity in your messaging. Understand your target audience, engage with them in meaningful ways, and always stay true to your personal values. Okay? So let's talk about business branding 101. This was the rebrand of the century. Old Spice, we all know Old Spice, right? Old Spice was interesting because we knew about it. It had been around for years, long, deep history, but they had all of the success. And then up until a point, they started having branding problems and branding issues. Bless me. So they were having issues, right? They got to a point where they literally couldn't sell anything. They had the turn of the millennium, and they didn't know what the fuck to do. But they knew that they had to rebrand, and this was one of the best rebrands I have seen in a long time. Excuse me. So the Old Spice was branded and aimed at an older generation of men. This was technically, the same customers and the same men that had grew with the brand since what, 1937. So like I said, the problem wasn't that the product was bad, because it wasn't. It had legacy. It had, years in the game, but it became stagnant and people weren't buying it anymore. So once they did the rebrand, they came with this whole "the man your man could smell like" thing, or "smell like a man" campaign. And that's where we got this hilarious character. These quick change, this quick edit. It was literally being switched from, okay, Old Spice, old men, Old Spice, young men. They just changed the way that they spoke to their customers. They changed their target audience. They understood their new target audience, and they created messaging and commercials and conversations that was geared towards something that was a little less stuffy and a little more fun. I love these commercials, and they're so freaking memorable, So they had huge success. Numbers back this up. You can definitely go look it up if you like. But online presence skyrocketed, sales figures skyrocketed, and it became a brand that people started talking about again, all because they took who they were talking to, target audience, the way that they talked to that audience, and they switched it. They adjusted it. And this is proving how important it is to really understand where you are as a business. Because, like, this wasn't a new business, right? Years in the game. And this lets you know that even though you have, time and equity in a space, sometimes you got to go from point A to point B. Uh, love these commercials. Absolutely love these commercials. So, did I? I don't know. Okay. So I thought I had another slide up in here, but apparently I don't. But that's okay. So again, just talking about blending the two, leveraging your authenticity. This integration is really, really good for smaller business, startups, or individual entrepreneurs. You're going to create a stronger connection with your audience, which again is important, especially if you're trying to break through the noise of whatever market you're deciding to go into. Definitely make sure that you maintain the balance, and that neither one overshadows the other. They should be working in tandem. I think a really good example of this is Steve Jobs and Apple. Like, that they're two different entities. He's a person, this is a business, but they worked together, because the personal stories were the ones that helped Apple succeed. Steve Jobs' values were the values of Apple. His vision was the vision of Apple. And Steve Jobs is also the person who got hired at Apple, fired from Apple, and then saved them from bankruptcy. Whatever's meant for you is meant for you. Nobody or nothing can take that away. Definitely want to put that in there for you. Steve Jobs is Apple. Apple is Steve Jobs. You can't think of one without thinking of the other. And this is the power of combining business branding and personal branding. So, moving rapidly along, we are going to talk about some websites, which one would be right for you, depending on what you're offering. Landing pages. A landing page is where someone would come to either give their email, because they would like to exchange it for some information that you're providing. This is usually free information. Landing pages are also good if you're trying to launch something and you're not 100% sure if people actually want this thing. You can make a landing page explaining everything that you're offering and essentially do a pre-sale, or just get what's the word, pre-interest in what you would like to offer. Pretty much every one of these options I have touched myself. I'm just looking at them right now to make sure. There's like one or two, and I'll point those out. But you can do a landing page, and a lot of these are either for free or for a very, very low cost. So MailChimp, ConvertKit, Wix, lead pages. There's also there's hundreds of options out there. I'm giving you what I've worked with personally for the most part, or what comes highly recommended. Don't stress yourself. If you know you're starting something and you're not 100% sure how it's going to go, just pick one of these. Just pick one of these. Um, you can always switch. You can always switch. You can always try something different. Just start out with something as simply as you can. That's the biggest thing I want you to take away from this. Um, Link sites such as Linktree, Stand Store, or Beacons. This is for my content creators, my digital product creators. These are really popular. If I'm not mistaken, I do believe Beacons also has like a cart available. Maybe, I don't know. Let me stop talking ahead. We're just gonna say what it is, where it's at. It's a link site. Okay, it's definitely a link site. So if you have, a lot of different digital products, Linktree, Stand Store, Beacons. Oh, I forgot Gumroad. Gumroad is it's not a link site though. See, this is why I list things the way that I list them, because then I get to talking too much. So if you're trying to just get your digital products out there, I think link sites are really great. Landing page is great if you are just trying to test out an idea or maybe test out a lead magnet. Now, if you are relatively established and you just want to have something a little firmer, a 1 page, 2 or 3 page website is really, really good. Super simple, very easy. Start simply. You can use Wix. You can use Canva, you can use MailChimp, and you can use WordPress specifically for blogs. If you are a person who happens to be really good at writing, and let's just say you're trying to get interested or get your feet wet with affiliate marketing, it's a great way. It's a great way to go about it. That is how most of the people of yesteryear have created their funds, because they understood how to write. And in understanding how to write and how to communicate with people who are still interested in reading blogs and looking for specific things, you've seen these sites and you probably didn't even realize that these were a lot of affiliate products and affiliate links being mentioned. I want you to understand that doesn't mean that these people should have any less credibility, because I feel like they do, especially if they only focus on one thing. Maybe they only focus on beauty products. Maybe they only focus on, products that you can DIY stuff at home, whatever the case. So long as it's a focused blog, these people are going to be talking about some things that they've experienced, and they're going to link products which happen to be affiliate links. Nothing wrong with that. I love affiliate. I do affiliate. And last but not least, if you need a website and a cart, so e-commerce, Wix, Shopify, you can use Square. You can also use that last one that I don't know how to pronounce. ECWID, Equid. I don't know, to be honest. But yes, if you are looking to go into the e-commerce space, if you create something that you want to sell, Wix, Shopify, Square, and that last one. I certainly hope that this helped. I had a joy creating this for you today. And yeah, so I just talked for like 30 minutes straight. I am dehydrated. Again, make sure you go ahead and download that side hustle workbook that is in the description box below. If you have any questions, if you want me to go in depth on one part that we talked about in this video, let me know in the comments. I would probably be more than happy to talk about anything that we talked about today a little more in depth. I hope this helps, and I will see y'all in the next video.